Hi everyone, and welcome to the Hair Loss Show, episode 63. In today's episode, we're going to talk about a concept called retrograde alopecia, something that people do experience. So stick around and we'll go through that.
Welcome to the Hair Loss Show. Dr. Russell Knudsen and Dr. Vikram Jayaprakash discuss issues relating to hair loss and the medical and surgical treatment of hair loss in both men and women.
Hi everyone, and welcome to the Hair Loss Show. Today's episode, we're going to talk about retrograde alopecia. It's something that we've been asked quite a few times on the show, and certainly something that during a consultation we always look out for. So people talk about male pattern hair loss, androgenetic alopecia being hair loss that occurs, on the upper part of the scalp. And that's the classic distribution of the miniaturization is in the upper part of the dome of the scalp. And when we look at, when we're analyzing and examining someone's hair, we always look and see the extent of that miniaturization, how far forward or back it goes. Because at the back of the head is usually what we call the safe area where there's less miniaturization going on or no miniaturization going on. But there are some people that have a phenomenon called retrograde alopecia. So they may be losing hair at the top, but also they're starting to miniaturize from the back of the nape of the neck up. And so what happens is they start losing hair from the top and the bottom, and that reduces that area where there's non-miniaturized hair. So why is that important? Well, that's probably a sign that someone has got quite aggressive progression of male pattern hair loss. And if you see someone that's got retrograde alopecia, it's probably a sign that you have to question how good a hair transplant candidate that they will be. So because if you're doing a procedure like FUE, you have to take your grafts from a large area. But if you're taking your area and that is potentially going to bald in the future, it may not, that margin may not have been reached yet at the time of examination. But we don't know if someone's got early signs of retrograde alopecia, how far that will progress. So if you're doing an FUE procedure over a large area, then potentially the worry is that any grafts that you may have harvested from that area, which is going to bald in the future, may not last. So in that scenario, you can't definitively say, look, have a hair transplant, the grafts that we will transplant into an area will be there for the rest of your life. Whereas if you take it from that central zone, the safest area from the donor zone, then you're more likely to say, right, well, those grafts will be there long term. So the implications of someone that has retrograde alopecia is, first of all, potentially it earmarks them as quite an aggressive pattern of hair loss. Maybe they progress to a Norwood 6 or a Norwood 7. And then also the question comes into, well, what is the best technique in terms of surgical technique to manage those patients? And you have to question whether or not FUE is the best technique in that scenario, or is it better to do a strip technique and get the highest quality grafts from the safest area that you're reasonably confident the alopecia will not regress into that zone, either from the top or from the bottom. In terms of treatment, well, it's the management is still the same. It's still undergoing that miniaturization process. So we talk about things like blocker therapy, like finasteride or dutasteride. We'll talk about stimulation therapy, like minoxidil or low-level laser therapy or PRP as an example. So it doesn't really change how you treat the individual, but in terms of surgical management planning, you will have to have that conversation and take that into consideration. I hope you found that little bit on retrograde alopecia useful. Thanks again for watching. If you like the channel, please remember to like and subscribe, and we'll see you again on the next episode. Thanks very much.